hurry up and put $1,000 in the envelope. Even a poor woman like you can afford that much. The ridiculous request of my husband Ross makes me feel dizzy. I accept the red envelope with my trembling hands. Of course, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that much. Go to the ATM then. There's one next to the hotel. Go quickly. That's not what I mean. I just got a pay cut the other day, and $1,000 is far more than I can afford. I've already told him about it, but he draws closer and grabs me by the shoulders. I worked for a Chinese boss, and this is the wedding of his son. If they think I went cheap on the wedding gift, he'll pass me over for promotion. Then you'll be even poorer than you are now. If you can buy your future for $1,000, it's a small price to pay, right? The hands gripping my shoulders are getting stronger and stronger. Noticing that we are acting strangely, people start to gather around us. If we continue to attract attention, it will only get worse. Besides, he has a point. If I obey him now, it'd go all well. Okay, I'll go. Yes. His expression becomes overly happy, and I was released from his grip. He has always been like this. It reminds me of a few days ago. I'm going to bed. Hey, why don't you clean after yourself? I'm tired. Good night. He disappeared into the bedroom without looking back. I let out a sigh and staggered off to the kitchen. He didn't even soak the plate in the water again. I looked at the dried up sauce that had stuck to the plate in frustration and picked up the dish sponge. We had been married for 10 years. We met through a friend, and my first impression of him was, what a good-looking guy. He was tall and looked a little like an actor who appeared in the popular sitcom at that time. My friend often told me that he was very popular with ladies. He knew how to treat women and was much more sophisticated than men of his age. I thought he was an amazing guy who wasn't calculating, but just casual in his kind manners. At the same time, I thought that I would never be able to have someone like him. I was rather plain and wasn't a good conversationalist. So when he confessed his feelings for me, I thought it was a prank. After dating for a few years, we got married. Although the first year was fun, his true nature gradually became apparent. He had a kind of misogynistic idea of a wife and thought he owned me. He started ordering me around. He repeatedly said that it was disgraceful for a man to do housework, even though we both worked. I was the one who took care of the house. I contemplated leaving him many times, but I couldn't let go of the thought that such a handsome guy had chosen me. When I finished washing the dishes, I poured wine in a glass and returned to the living room. I stared at the calendar, on which the wedding anniversary is circled in red. I told myself to wait on divorce until at least our wedding anniversary. I still had a slight hope for him to change on that day, even though I knew it was wishful thinking. I chugged half a glass of wine. On the day of the anniversary, I took the day off, and Ross was getting ready for work. I was disappointed, realizing that I had set my expectations too high after all. Suddenly, he handed out a note to me. There was a name and address of a hotel written on it. Be there at 5 p.m. I took a half day off, so I'll head there directly from work. Is this? Dress nicely. Do you still have that gray dress you bought a while ago? Wear that. As soon as he finished, he breezed out of the house. I stood there in amazement. Then I finally came to my senses and exuberantly headed to my closet. He remembered. It's our first time for us to have dinner out on our anniversary. I put out the dress that had been neglected in the back of the closet and spun around in place. I knew the wonderful man was still inside of him. I was glad that I hadn't said anything stupid about divorce. There still was a lot of time, but I couldn't just be still and started to get ready. I put on the dress and took more time than usual to put on makeup. I even sprayed my favorite perfume on. I put on the earrings that Ross had bought for me a long time ago. After getting my hair done at the salon, I headed to the hotel. I looked at myself in the mirror and was satisfied with the reflection of what might be the most beautiful self I had seen since my wedding. When I arrived at the designated floor, I saw a swarm of people gathering there. Ross was in the middle of it, playing with his phone. When I ran up to him and tapped his arm, he silently put his phone away in his pocket. So many people here. Are we having dinner here? Dinner? It's our anniversary dinner, right? I was surprised when you suddenly told me. He seems to be confused, which made me anxious. You arranged dinner for our wedding anniversary, right? I never say that. I just invited you to my boss' son and my colleague's wedding. Just as I was about to go off at him, someone who looked like his boss came over to us. He immediately responded to the person with a freshly made-up smile. Although I was upset, I smiled, thinking that I could not ruin his reputation. He pretended to be a loving husband as if his previous attitude was a lie, and introduced me to the people around him. He laid out superficial praise about me that made me feel empty inside. When I was desperately trying to keep up, one of the people around us smiled at me. The gray-haired man said in a smooth voice as he was consoling me, "She seems like a really loving person. You must take good care of her." I almost cried hearing the stranger's kind words. There was no way he could have known what was going on, but I felt like he was on my side. Ross half-heartedly agreed with him. I kept putting on a smile, holding back my tears. After a while, the greetings were over, and Ross and I were left alone. He didn't even care to see how I was, but sighed deliberately to express his stress. "I'm tired of company politics. I guess women don't understand." The way he said it was so rude that I felt anger boiling up inside me. What's it got to do with being a woman? I work hard and earn my own money too. I played the perfect wife for his trivial pride. There was no reason for him to be sarcastic. Without caring about my feelings, he suddenly put out an envelope for me. I assumed that he wanted me to go to the reception desk to present it, but he was just grinning at me. It was the kind of smile that showed his true colors. "Hurry up and put $1,000 in the envelope. Even a poor woman like you can afford that much." His ridiculous request made me feel nauseous. I accepted the envelope with trembling hands. Of course, I didn't have that kind of money. My salary had recently been revised and reduced. The fresh memory of my boss apologizing to me popped into my head. "I don't have that kind of money." "Why don't you just go to the ATM? There is one next to the hotel. Go quickly." "That's not what I mean." He drew closer and grabbed me by my shoulders. "I work for a Chinese boss, and this is the wedding of his son. If they think I went cheap on the wedding gift, he'll pass me over for promotion. Then you'll be even poorer than you are now. If you can buy your future for $1,000, It's a small price to pay, right? The hands gripping my shoulders were getting stronger and stronger. Noticing that we are acting strangely, people start to gather in around us. If we continue to attract attention, it will only get worse. Besides, he has a point. If I obey him now, it'll all go well. Okay, I'll go. Yes. His expression became overly happy, and I was released from his grip. I was on the verge of tears, but turned my back on him to go to the ATM. I was filled with despair. I put the money into the envelope as I mourned the reduced balance. When I returned to the hotel with it, Ross and the bride were talking amiably. Whenever he made a joke, he quickly touched some part of his body. The gesture seemed rather intimate, or rather sexual, and it made me feel uncomfortable. When we walked away, I handed him the envelope, and he finally gave me a sincere smile. Thank you. I know I forced you a bit earlier, but thank you for helping out. I can always count on you. By the way, weren't you a bit too close to the bride? I'm sure the groom wouldn't be so happy if he saw that. He shrugged his shoulders dramatically. There's nothing between us. She's just a good friend. She used to be one of my assistants when she just joined the company. He spoke so eloquently that it made me even more skeptical. I thought it was improper to continue such a conversation at a fine occasion, so I didn't pursue the matter any further. I was depressed during the reception. The bride kept glancing over at Ross, who kept acting like he was a big shot. The ultimate stab in my heart was what he said during his speech. Mike, make sure you remember to celebrate your anniversary. Jess is a kind woman, but there are etiquettes even between husband and wife. That's when my heart broke, and I left the hotel as soon as the dinner finished. I assumed Ross was going to stay until the end of the party. I drank a cheap wine I bought at a store on the way home and cried. Let's get a divorce. I can't keep doing this with him. After that, I found a lawyer and prepared for divorce. Then, the lawyer suggested that I file a claim for alimony. I told him about the incident at the wedding, and he felt something was up. He told me to try and find conclusive evidence to go after Russ. So, in parallel with preparing for the procedure, I started an affair investigation. He was certainly an inconsiderate person. Although I thought he'd never gotten that far, I surreptitiously picked up his phone. He was in the shower. I estimated the time I have to be about 5 minutes maximum. I opened the messaging app and looked at it anxiously. The names displayed were almost all male, even if the occasional female name appeared. The chats were simple and businesslike. I was about to close the app, thinking he hadn't been ruined that much after all. Then, a notification came in. Your wife hasn't found out about us yet, right? It was a male name, but the message showed otherwise. I felt a shiver down my spine and carefully maneuvered the phone and avoided being double-ticked. Then I put it back in its original position. After waiting for him to go to bed that night, I looked at his phone again. Remembering the name of the man, I opened the chat. They were frequently communicating with each other. The content of the conversation was romantic and sometimes sexual. There was a photo of the woman whom I knew at a glance. It was the bride I had met at the wedding. She was supposedly his good friend. The photo was a close-up of her face, and I noticed the earrings that were the same ones I had. I had them on my ears for the wedding too. He bought the same earrings for his wife and mistress. How thoughtful of him. I could feel nothing at that point and just backed up the data on my computer. Then I sent the data to my lawyer right away. A few days later, I waited for Ross with a copy of the divorce papers and the blown-out printout of his girlfriend with the earrings. When he got up and saw the picture, he was taken aback. "What? That's..." "Good morning. Can you go through these before you leave? I don't have to explain this picture to you, do I?" "You snooped around on my phone? You're a criminal." He ripped the picture into pieces, but it was a useless act. "I've saved all the message and the picture. You know, you're totally busted, right? I'm making sure you paid alimony." "Is this the result of using your peanut brain? Fine, I'm ready to fight." "I'm relieved to hear you say that. Let's see how you win from here." I showed him the amount of alimony and the list of the evidence of the affair I had gathered. The momentum he just had seemed to fade away. "What's wrong?" What the heck? I'll forgive you. I'll let go of the fact that you snooped around." "What are you talking about? I'll move out as soon as we file for divorce." "What do you think you're going?" "I feel sorry if you become homeless, so I'll let you stay." "Don't worry. I've already taken care of that." Realizing that I wasn't going to be talked out of it, he slumped his shoulders. "I can't pay this kind of money right now. Can you please not divorce me?" He looked so small. Maybe that's why my heart ached a little, even though I didn't need to feel sorry for him. I thought he really was remorseful. I questioned myself if it was right to cut off someone I had been for 10 years. Such thoughts crossed my mind, and the divorce filing was put on hold. It was the next day the drama unfolded. "Is this Natalie?" "Ross collapsed in the office just now." "Oh my God!" I panicked and rushed to his office. As soon as I ran into the conference room I had been pointed to, I found Ross lying on the floor and his girlfriend next to him. When she saw me, she awkwardly left the room. Although I thought about going after her, I couldn't leave Ross lying there alone. Then the door opened. "Huh? Are you alone?" Jess was supposed to be watching him. She's a good friend of Ross, just got married the other day. The guy excused himself, saying that the ambulance had arrived and needed to escort the paramedic, and left. When I saw him off, I noticed the trash can. There was a torn of stockings shoved haphazardly in there. I wondered why there was such a thing there and picked it up. I remember that Jess seems to be bare legs. "Natalie?" He opened his eyes, and when he saw my hand, he stood up suddenly. He tried to take the stockings away from me, so I reflexively backed away from him. "What's the matter with you all of a sudden?" "Give it to me!" "Why do you want the torn stockings so badly?" I looked closely at his suit, which was wrinkled in places. Then the dots was finally connected in my head. I rolled up the stockings and hid them behind my back. "Oh, now I got it. You're unfaithful to me at work." "I don't know what you're talking about." "She called the ambulance, didn't she?" "It was a man who called me. Poor guy was put in the middle of it." "I saw your girlfriend sitting next to you. She ran away as soon as she saw me." When I was talking, the paramedics and his colleagues came running into the room. They must have sensed something was amiss and looked at us silently. "It was your own fault that you collapsed. Aren't you ashamed to have caused so much trouble for so many people?" I explained the situation to the paramedics, and then I went to file the divorce right away. On that same day, I left my home and headed to my parents' house. Both of them gladly accepted me back. That night, I received numerous calls from Ross. He was so persistent that I reluctantly picked up the phone in the end. Hey, I filed the divorce papers today. Happy separation anniversary. You made a speech about cherishing the anniversary and never forgetting it. Oh, and the alimony will be paid in the 12th of every month. Then even you won't forget. I hung up on him and immediately blocked his number. A few months later, I'm finally relaxing after settling in a new place. It's been a long time since I lived alone, but it really feels good. After the collapsing incident, Ross and Jazz were heavily criticized by their colleagues and resigned voluntarily. Bad reputation has spread within the same industry, and they were struggling to find a new job. The two seem to have been driven into what Ross calls poverty. He's still making alimony payments, thought it could stop at any time. Even without the alimony, I'll be able to make a living, but I have no plan to withdraw it. I see it as a purification for him as well. I have a good job now, and I also have time for my hobbies. It's great for me to be able to resume hand-making goods. In addition to feeling more relaxed, I'm now able to earn a side income too. I was shocked when I realized how much time I had wasted on that man. I feel powered up and being more active than ever, trying to make up for the loss now. Oh no, it's late. I'm supposed to have a coffee with a friend today. The sun is shining warmly through the window as if to bless my new life.
My wife and I are moving into this family home. Anyone who doesn't belong here, get out now. When my husband said that, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Don't you guys know? My name is Amber. I'm a 27-year-old marketing executive. I've been working for the same company for 5 years since I graduated. I've been given a lot of responsibility now and lead a busy life. Every day is challenging, but I feel a sense of fulfillment. I have another reason to strive harder. That is my boyfriend Ted. He's also my colleague who works at the same office as me and is 1 year my senior. When I joined the company, he became my mentor, and that's how we started to get closer. At first, it was just a typical colleague relationship. Around the time I got used to my work, he started to show signs of being interested in me as a woman and began making advances. Well, maybe he was waiting for me to become independent. The truth is, I was secretly attracted to him. So I was thrilled when he confessed his feelings to me. By the time I turned 25, in my third year as a career woman, we officially started dating. We kept our relationship a secret from our colleagues. I was happy to see each other every day at work, and it was fun to go on dates after work or on weekends. It was delightful to have a good balance of work and private life. Our relationship was smooth sailing. Both of us were good at separating work and personal life, and we fulfilled our work responsibilities diligently. When both of us had a lot of work, we would stay late together and divide the tasks. I think we had a very good relationship in that sense. Then one day, someone at work found out that we were dating. It happened when we were walking together in the city on Valentine's Day. One of our coworkers saw us holding hands. Well, even without that, it wouldn't be surprising for people to assume we were dating since it was such a day. Although they teased us at first, everyone was supportive of us, saying we were a well-suited couple. It also helped that we both worked hard at our jobs without mixing our personal or professional lives. Since we produced good results, our superiors didn't say anything special about it. Thanks to that, we were able to continue our relationship smoothly. And then, after 2 years of dating, he finally proposed to me. No matter how I envision my future, I always see you by my side. So I want you to walk through life with me. Will you marry me? Yes. I was overjoyed by his wonderful proposal so much, so that I almost fainted with happiness. I spent some time gazing at the engagement ring and couldn't stop smiling. We immediately went to meet each other's parents. First, we headed to his parents' house. Very nice to meet you. I'm Amber. Wow, you're beautiful. That's very lucky. Oh, you're too nice. No, you don't have to be modest. That's right. That's really lucky. Hey, you guys are putting me down too much, don't you think? His parents were very friendly, kind and funny. Their smiles never phased, and we had a pleasant time from start to finish. Your parents are so nice. I'm glad to hear you say so. It's my turn now, isn't it? I'm nervous to meet your father. He's also nice, so you don't need to be nervous. Yeah, but I still do, you know. Will he approve of our marriage? I've already decided to marry you, so it doesn't matter if he does or doesn't. Besides, he's not the kind of person who would interfere with his daughter's marriage based on his own opinion. Well, that's good to hear. He seemed a little relieved, but still quite nervous. Then, a few days later, the day came for us to visit my parents. Did you sleep last night? I know you're teasing me, right? I couldn't sleep much. I knew it. While having that conversation, we walked a few minutes from the nearest station to my parents' house. Welcome, guys. My mom greeted us at the front. It's nice to meet you. I'm Ted, the fiancé of Amber. Oh dear, you seem so nervous. Yeah, he is. When my mom and I started laughing, he joined in and seemed to ease his tension a little. As we headed to the living room, my dad was waiting for us. Ted introduced himself politely, just as nervous as before. My dad welcomed him with a genuine smile. Nice meeting you too. I'm new. Seeing him return the greeting warmly, Ted seemed to relax a bit. From there, we carried out our conversations cheerfully. Ted, please take good care of our daughter. Yes, of course I will. They shook hands firmly. I watched them with a smile, feeling delighted. Afterward, we proceeded with the preparations for the wedding. During that time, we had dinner with both families. There was a cheerful exchange between the parents from both sides. Amidst that, there was another person from my side of the family who was meeting Ted and his parents for the first time. Hi, I'm Sarah. Nice to finally meet you. You're a pretty good-looking guy. That was how my sister introduced herself to Ted. She's 5 years younger than me and was a 22-year-old college student then. Since she was still in the student mindset, she tended to be a little hyped up. Ted had great people skills, so he easily clicked with her energy. Really? It's the first time someone said that to me. You're good with flattery. You're being too modest. You seem very nice, Ted. You found a great guy, Amber. I know. She had an outgoing personality and a light-hearted attitude. I thought she would have gotten along well with someone like Ted, who was flexible. Since he was an only child and had no siblings, I wanted him to enjoy having a sister too. The dinner with the two families went without a hitch, and ended pleasantly. A few months later, Ted and I held our wedding. We had many discussions and put a lot of effort into the planning, so we were quite pleased that it turned out exactly as we had hoped. Our colleagues and friends seemed genuinely happy for us, which made us feel truly blessed. Right after the wedding, we went on our honeymoon, and upon our return, we started our newlywed life. I was exalted to live with my beloved husband. Every morning when I woke up, he was by my side, and he was there when I went to sleep as well. Moreover, since we worked at the same company, we commuted together. It was like a dream to be with him all the time. As we were both busy, we shared the household chores. He liked cooking and was better than me. Even with simple dishes like mac and cheese or grilled salmon, he added a little extra touch, making them incredibly delicious. I felt fortunate to have a husband who was not only an excellent cook but also brought me joy. We collaborated and handled chores while fulfilling our respective jobs. Our colleagues praised us as an admirable couple. When we were not working, we mainly indulged in our shared hobby of watching movies. We loved foreign films and enjoyed 2 or 3 a day. We watched a considerable number of movies throughout the year. What shall we watch next weekend? I often browse movie review websites during my lunch break. Our married life was filled with simple happiness. However, around 3 years into our marriage, something happened that changed everything. It was on a weekend. When the doorbell rang, I thought it was a delivery, but the person standing outside the door was someone unexpected. It's been a long time, Amber. Sarah, why are you suddenly here? Can you let me stay here tonight? Huh? She showed up out of the blue. Not only that, she was asking to stay the night. I mean, it's a bit too sudden, don't you think? Please, I have nowhere else to go. What do you mean? I couldn't understand the meaning behind her words, and just then, Ted emerged from the living room. What's going on? Oh, Sarah, long time no see. Hey, Ted. Why are you guys talking at the door? Come inside. He then took her luggage and led her into the living room. You're so kind. I was hoping to end the conversation at the entrance. I was certain that if she came inside, she would have definitely stayed the night. Sarah, tell me the rest of what you were saying just now. What do you mean you have nowhere else to go? After graduating from university, she got a job and started living on her own. She should have had a place to go back to. I couldn't afford to pay the rent. How come? What about your job? It didn't work out, so I quit. You had finally landed a job after struggling, and it lasted for 3 years, right? You could have continued for a bit longer. Oh, I quit that job a long time ago. I was working part-time. Hold on. How long did you stay at your full-time job? Until a bit before Thanksgiving. That's only about a month. Why didn't you tell me something so important? Don't get upset like that, will you? When she went to our parents first and told them everything, she was fiercely scolded by Dad, then kicked out. Of course he'll be angry. How selfish are you? Okay, let's just calm down. She must have been going through a lot and made that choice. It's unfair to just get angry at her. Ted tried to take a neutral position, but that would have only made her take advantage. You're so cool. No one has ever stood up for me. Thanks. Well, It's not like, "Please, Dad, let me stay here tonight." She pleaded him with Bambi eyes. Then, without hesitation, he said, "Sure, why not?" All I could do was exhale deeply in resignation. "Yay, thank you." Exhilarated, she went to put her luggage in the guest room without asking. "Hon, you're spoiling her." "You think so? But we are siblings, so we have to help each other." He didn't seem to grasp my concerns. I knew she would have never wanted to leave our place. My intuition was right, and she stayed for a while. "You're an amazing cook, Ted." "Really? Thank you." Ted never asked her to leave, and they always seemed to enjoy their meals together. Even when I told her to leave soon, she wouldn't listen. When I spoke to Ted about it, he said it was lively and fun. I had no choice but to talk to my parents. They were so mad that they immediately came to our house. Sarah was taken aback by their sudden visit. Dad gave her a harsh scolding, which made her finally reflect on her actions. She decided to leave soon, and at last I was going to be free from her. But then came the drama. I had just returned home from a 3-day business trip. When I entered the house, Sarah's jackets were gone from the closet. There was no luggage in the guest room either. I thought she must have left while I was away. I went to the dining room and found a letter on the table. I expected it to be from her. I picked it up and was absolutely stunned when I read the contents. "I'm sorry, Amber. Sarah's leaving, so I decided to go with her." "You've got to be kidding me." I couldn't help but let out a small cry. I rushed to Ted's closet only to find it empty. My sister and my husband had eloped together. I called and messaged both of them several times to no avail. I crumbled down to the floor. They had been having an affair under my roof. He had chosen Sarah over me. All of those were like a kick in my gut, and I didn't think I could recover from the immense pain. I called my parents and asked them to come over right away, and also sought advice from the police. However, I was told that I couldn't file a missing persons report, and I lost hope of locating them. I found out that Ted had resigned from his job while I was on a business trip. And just like that, he disappeared from the office. Soon after, I received the divorce papers in the mail. I desperately tried to find them, but it seemed impossible. I reluctantly signed the papers and submitted them, pretending to be a complete stranger to my husband. I hoped that I'd never have to go through such a painful experience again. People around me sympathized with me, understanding how cruel Ted had been. Work became the only way to distract myself from the pain. I focused solely on my work from then on. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. I was still working as hard as ever. Then one day, unexpected visitors showed up at my house. "Hi, Amber. We're back." We had nowhere else to go, so we came here. Unbelievably, Ted and Sarah appeared after 10 years. I wondered what their intentions were. The house they came to was my parents'. They shamelessly showed up without a trace of embarrassment. I took a deep breath. It's pointless for you to have come. They refused to listen to me and tried to rely on my parents. God will forgive us after 10 years, don't you think? Ted's parents were still mad, so we couldn't go to their house. But my parents would be different. We'll move into this house. Anyone who doesn't belong here, get out now. When Ted said that, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Don't you guys know? Mom and Dad have already retired to the countryside. So this house is in my name now. No way! It's not fair that you live here all by yourself. Who said I'm alone? You're not? Just then, my current husband emerged from the living room. Hey guys, I'm her husband. Just to let you know, I'm a police officer. Police? Not only surprised by the unexpected presence of my husband, but they were flustered upon learning about his profession. I'm happy to see you doing well after all this time. Right, I'm relieved to see you well. Saying that, the two of them started backing away. Stop. If you guys want to live here, you can. Really? You're so sweet. It appeared that their simple-minded nature hadn't changed as they paused and delighted in my words. But only if you pay for the upcoming full renovation. That's impossible, obviously. Don't give us a false hope. You two had an affair, left the house on your own, and now you're back, yet you dare to say such a presumptuous things? I have suffered a lot because of your betrayal. I was that bitterness that fueled my determination, and now I'll become the VP at the headquarters. Seriously, you've risen that high? I kept working hard after you were gone. What about you guys? You quit your jobs, eloped, and now you're back. It's because you don't have any money, isn't it? Well, when confronted with the truth, they both hung their heads looking down. After they eloped, they worked part-time to ends meet, but it was getting insufficient. Unable to pay the rent, they were finally evicted from the apartment. I'll hook you up with a job if you want. Are you mocking us again? Enough already. Well then, there's a living job available, but when I mentioned it, they eagerly took the bait. Really? Come on, tell us more. It appeared they were truly desperate. Alright, let me contact them. I made a phone call right away. They want you guys to come now. I'll drive, so let's go. Yes. My husband and I got into the car and took them to the location. It was a farmhouse where my parents and uncle lived. Could this be... Yep, Sarah. What are you doing showing your face here now? And you, I won't forgive you for betraying Amber. When we arrived, Dad approached the two of them in a rage. They cowered in terror in his menacing look. My husband and I removed their belongings from the trunk and got back inside the car. What are you doing, Amber? Where are you going? We have no business here, so we are going home. Good luck with the farm work. Wait. We left them behind. They are now disciplined by my parents and uncle, enduring daily lectures and forced to do farm work. I hear they are mentally and physically exhausted, with lifeless expressions on their faces. I truly think it serves them right. On the other hand, I am happily living with my husband. I intend to continue working through life with my reliable partner.